But all right, let's dive into the league here a little bit. Mid-season state of the league conversation, right? Last year, 2021, we saw it's trade deadline. That's the first place I'd like to start, because last year we saw Von Miller, right, get traded right before the trade deadline to the Rams, and it was a huge jump-off point for them to win the Super Bowl and get them over the top. All right, so this year, I know the trades that went down. Out of the marquee ones, the big moves, right? What do you think is the Von Miller trade, the trade that excites you the most, that you think puts a team over the top or changes them the most and, gives them a better chance of getting to the Super Bowl when all's said and done?
Well, two jump out, of course, immediately. Christian McCaffrey to the San Francisco 49ers, and, of course, Bradley Chubb. Man, the Dolphins, they're just willing to do whatever it takes to get this thing to the finish line or be a team that we think that can go to the Super Bowl. So that was a tremendous trade for them, because I love their defense on paper before the year.
Right.
It started out pretty well, but wow, they've kind of fallen apart, and some of the things they've been doing are not working, and the Dolphins needed some help, so they went out there and got it. So those two jump out by far to me. I think the one that's under the radar is Roquan Smith going to the Baltimore Ravens. I think he's going to be a big help to that defense in many ways. And I heard on TV, I haven't read it yet, that he's going to be the signal caller for him right away.
Wow.
So I don't know. Is that true?
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, or at least that it comes at some point here in the near future. But, I'm with you there too.
I'll say this to him real quick. It's just that I think he is going to turn into that guy and be the leader of that defense and be the guy that gets it together and kind of, holds people accountable once he gets comfortable in the locker room. So there's many things about that trade I like.
Yeah, I think so too. They could have used a pass rusher, but I bet you Bradley Chubb was probably a little too expensive for them as far as what they had to give up to get him. I'm sure they didn't love that. I think this is the second best option. I'm with you, Dad. I thought this was an amazing. It's a pretty good run stopping defensive line. And now they're a team that, doesn't rush the passer, but they are slowly but surely finding ways to get after the quarterback with creative blitzes, blitz one, drop one guy, blitz two, drop one guy, whatever. So they have created pressure that way. And then I just think you and me are both a believer in, like, a team's defensive speed changes when you have two guys who got rockets up their ass in the middle of the field, really, right? And now you got him and Patrick Queen. You just go, if they don't have blockers on them at the second level, they're going to be all over the ball every play, let alone they're athletic and good in pass coverage. So I think it does help a lot of their issues with their team, and I'm guessing you agree with that.
Yeah, let me just say this. Roquan Smith, he's good against the run.
Right.
He can cover. He's really fast and agile that way, but he's a really good blitzer.
He is.
Too. So, man, does that fit the bill? And what it does, you said it right. I don't know about the rockets up the rear end. That's one phrase I don't think I've ever said. But Patrick Queen, I think what it does, it takes a lot of pressure off of him, frees him up, and he can be the guy that what he really is just let me run. And, I know it's a simple phrase, but I can just see that he's going to have a different role in this defense with Roquan Smith there. I think it's going to help him tremendously. Patrick Queen has been getting better in my eyes from year to year. And, this Baltimore defense, too much talent and too many ways they can figure it out. And I expect them to get better, that's for sure.
I know. I think they're trending in the right direction. And I also think, I want to bring up another one that you brought up with Bradley Chubb, because I think you hit on a good point there with Miami. Miami, and I said this to Florio this morning, I don't know. I guess I'm a little like you, where I look at them and go, they're too talented to be. Let me make sure I get this right. The 23rd ranked defense in football right now. At least that's the way I look at it. I look at them and go, how could this group be 23rd in football? And I think their big problem is too over-aggressive, too much in-your-face man-to-man, too many people at the line of scrimmage blitzing. I mean, last week is the perfect example. I know you watched the Lions game. They blitz and are aggressive early, and Jared Goff and company are tearing them apart. Second half, they dial it back a little bit. Detroit has a hard time moving. So I know they can't rush the passer either. So that's where I think they do this with Bradley Chubb to get a front four now with him and Jalen Phillips and Raekwon Davis in the middle, with Christian Wilkins, where they don't have to do crazy, creative, over-aggressive stuff on the defensive side of the ball. At least that's the way I see it. What about you?
Well, Jalen Phillips, at times I watch him. He really jumps out when you watch him. I think
he's got some talent. Yeah.
He's got talent. He's got the look. He's got it all. And, you're right. The pass rush. The thing I noticed, Miami did so much of this blitzing and everything for a couple years. And I would think everybody around the NFL and even Detroit showed me. It's like, oh, you got all these guys up, big deal. They handled it really well, gave Jared Goff that extra second to throw. And if you do that against the blitz, look out. You're right. He tore him up. So so everybody's gotten used to their scheme and what they're doing. But you said it, the pass rushers not getting there quick enough, putting too much pressure on the pass defense. And, I'm drawing a blank. Melvin Ingram, who came in, I thought, boy, this is going to be the guy. And he's had some moments, but he's not the guy that's going to get around the edge all the time, speed rushing. And so this really changes that. Bradley Chubb, man, I don't know. I guess it's about money, but man, Denver letting him go. Good luck on drafting somebody to take his role somewhere in the future.
Yeah, I hear you. I think everybody was a little surprised by that. I don't know what their logic is either. Either they just feel like they weren't going to be able to pay him or didn't want to pay him the amount of money they thought it was going to take. They do have Barrett Browning, who's been pretty special as far as a pass rusher. Maybe they look at him. They drafted a kid, Nick Bonito, out of Oklahoma, right? So I'm guessing they're going, hey, we like some of these guys, and we just paid Russell a huge contract. And Bradley Chubb, who's been hurt a decent amount in his career, maybe they just didn't feel comfortable about paying him top-tier pass rusher money. At least that's how I connected the dots. I don't know that, but I'm just trying to use some logic and put myself in their shoes.
Yeah, of course. That's what it is. It's almost always about money, isn't it? I mean, so I'm surprised, but that rumor's been out there so long. So when you hear it for the last 4 or 5 weeks,
right?
And there's got to be some validity to it. And then when Adam Schefter tweets it about it, I just go, I know it's really real.
Yeah, so, yeah, I know. You're right.
He talks about it, so he has an inside out there in the Denver organization, and surprised. But I understand it's always about money. Russell Wilson, all that money there, and they look at their football team and go, we're not that close. We're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, and maybe get some other assets because you get rid of Bradley.
Right. McCaffrey, just hit on that. Like, what did you, when you first saw McCaffrey getting traded there, what did you like? What did you think it did for the 49er team?
Well, he's a difference maker. That's what you see. He's just a tremendous athlete. We see the speed, all the running, but it just gives Kyle Shanahan that offense so many more variables. And, so many times as I watch all the games every week, I write, I need more deception. And you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
I like teams that move around, give you a lot of formations, make you think. And, I always say when you have to think on defense, you can't attack.
Right.
So it slows you down. And this is just Debo, Sam, just everything. Ayuk, whatever they do, all the play actions, all the movement and everything, this is just going to make it better. And, you and I and everybody, I think included, looks at the 49ers and say, wow, this is a Super Bowl roster.
Right.
Well, I'm sitting there going, well, you're 3-4. Now I know they're 4-4, but how do you become 3-4 if you got a Super Bowl roster? So I got to see more before I just really buy into this whole thing. But it was a great move getting Christian McCaffrey.
All right, well, that's a good jump-off spot here because I think the 49ers were 3-5 last year, right? We saw them make a run and almost get to the Super Bowl. And to answer that question, I do think they're a team that has gone through maybe the worst little injury spell out of everybody.
Yeah.
When you talk about no Javon Kinlaw and no Eric Armstead, and they've dealt with some issues in the secondary, some offensive line issues. I think after this bye week we start to see the real 49er team. Thanks for watching, homies. Hit subscribe to see all my unbuttoned videos. You get to see me, Ahmed Fareed, all the big player breakdowns, game breakdowns, player interviews, and my film analysis. So please subscribe. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Peace out.